Welcome to PROPERTIA and welcome to fourth quarter review. I'm sitting here with my friend and colleague and sales manager of PROPERTIA, Joe Pillar. My name is Peter and we are going to go through what happened in the fourth quarter in Bali. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you.
2025, wow, what a year.
Fantastic year.
Fantastic year. So tell me a little bit about the visitors that was in Bali this year.
Yes, so over the year there was a target of just over 7 million foreign arrivals. Happy to say they hit the target, which was great.
Nice.
I think we saw the year was a little bit more seasonal than probably the previous years. So 2022, 3 and 4, it was very busy throughout the whole year. I think 2025, we saw it be busy consistently and then particular months where it went up and down.
Yeah.
So I think what we're seeing is the Bali market stabilize a little bit, probably go back to normal level tourism where there's people who need to travel certain times of the year, maybe less people coming.
And 7 million is foreigners, right?
Foreign arrivals.
So how many in total, approximately?
I think it was around 15 million overall domestic and
Crazy.
foreign, yeah.
So we actually reached the target for tourism. How's the demand for villas still strong in Bali? Or?
Very high. I think, again, 2022, 2023, 2024, we were coming off the back of COVID. It was extremely busy everywhere in Bali. We were seeing new areas grow all over the place. So it felt very busy everywhere with the villa market. I think now we're seeing particular pockets which are more interesting than probably the ones on the outside. So the demand is still very, very strong, but I think the clients, rightly so, and the developers are more demanding with the areas that they're looking to go into.
And still, it's the same areas as last year, or which areas?
I think what we saw after COVID was that Canggu grew very quickly, and therefore people wanted to be part of Canggu, but it was becoming expensive. So we saw everything around it, Bali, Buduk, these sorts of areas that were trying to be part of Canggu, but perhaps not exactly on the doorstep. They started to grow. Then we had Bingin over the last 18 months, and Bingin has become very, very popular. And I think we're seeing a little bit down there as well, where people are trying to use these areas on the outside to be part of Bingin. But I think that the clients that are very much into the strongest returns, investment, occupancy, are very focused on the prime areas. So if you're in Canggu, it has to be the main part of Canggu or Pererenan to be very successful. If you're in Bingin, I think you have a few pockets down there, Bingin, Padang Padang, Thomas Beach, Sulaban. But if you're looking on the areas on the outside, it will be more challenging in the future. I think location has become more and more important for the tourists that are coming.
And what have we been selling in 2025?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
But is it 1, 2, 3, 4 bedroom villas or what?
So for us, we've talked a lot about 1 and 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
2 bedrooms actually being our biggest seller in 2025. And I think that we get a lot of clients who like to invest in the island, but also like the hybrid model. So they can stay in it when they come to Bali, they can bring their family, but they can also rent it out and be very lucrative when they're not here. So 2 bedrooms followed by 1 bedrooms have been the most popular, and area-wise, being in Uluwatu.
I think it's really nice to see that now it's going, like you said, to Padang Padang, Thomas Beach, Uluwatu, Sulaban. The area is expanding.
And I think each area is starting to get their own identity as well. So if you look at Thomas Beach, which has been growing a lot in the last 2 years, it's almost become like the Pererenan of that area. It's a bit of a foodie heaven. It's got all the best fine dining, restaurants, cafes, etc. So they got their own identity there. I think Bingin is very much becoming a fitness community, and perhaps each area is kind of coming up with their own demographics as well.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting. I really feel that you have everything down there now, where in the past it was hard to find a nice place to dine or a good gym, but now everything is there.
F&B wise, you have probably the best in the island. Gym wise, again, you probably have some of the best on the island. You now have schools down there, which is going to become very attractive for families. Whereas in the past, they would have primarily looked at Canggu because of Canggu Community School or the schools that are in the area. Now they can actually consider Uluwatu because you have schools down there.
Nice. So you have a strong belief that Bingin and Uluwatu in general is just going to blow up still?
I think Uluwatu in general. And we're looking at such a big area, a catchment area that is 5 or 6 times bigger than Canggu and the surroundings. and you have so many different pockets. And like I said, because the areas are so big and because you have all of these different pockets, what I think you'll find is different demographics that like each area. Whereas perhaps in Canggu, Pererenan, Rara, I think you get very similar clients that come to them. There's not much diversity in it. I think in Uluwatu, you will see different types of clients seeking different things.
What about Canggu and the outskirt of Canggu? I have the feeling that it's becoming more residential, like Sese. People always talk and ask about Kidungu, what's going on there. For me, Kidungu never happened.
No.
And it probably never will, because everything went down there. And we are just following the tourism, right?
Yeah.
And when investors, they ask you, where should I invest? I know, because I'm working with you, you always say, go down south. Why is it that the investors should look at Uluwatu right now compared to Canggu?
Simple numbers, you have about a third of the available villas on Airbnb that you do compared to Canggu. So around 1,500 in Canggu active on Airbnb and about 500 down in Uluwatu. I heard there's something like 30, 35 3-bedroom villas that are available down there. So I think that will become an interesting market in the future. It's purely supply versus demand. It's very, very simple. And if you look at where the tourists are going, a lot more tourists are now considering Uluwatu instead of Canggu, because like you said, they have the facilities, they have the gyms, they have the cafes and restaurants, they have beautiful beaches. So they have a lot going on down there, but they don't feel so isolated anymore. But the supply is very limited. So that's why that area will continue to grow. I think Canggu and the surroundings, I agree, Kidungu is probably never going to happen, or probably not in the periods that we're talking about in the next 10 to 15 years. I think Sese has become a cool place perhaps to live, but I'm not sure if it's going to be the tourist hub in the future. And I think naturally you're just getting more people seek the south.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in the past it was more like 80% of your time you spend in Canggu, and then it was 20%, but now it seems like 50-50. There's a huge undersupply of villas in Uluwatu, and that's why the prices are quite high right now. And I think we are selling a lot down there, but there is still a gap of hundreds of villas that needs to be built just to satisfy the tourism.
Yeah, I would think so. And you can be in Pachatu, Nyang, Sulaban, and still everything feels like it's only 8 to 10 minutes away. You're very close. The roads are nice to drive on. They don't feel overly congested. It's actually quite nice driving around down there. So I think it will grow in a much nicer way probably than Canggu has over the years, and still feel quite spacious when you're down there without feeling that everything's on top of each other.
I was down there a few weeks ago, and what I also realized is, as a restaurant owner, you already have a restaurant in Canggu, and then when you're building your second restaurant down there, you actually make it even nicer. So you see the most amazing, like you said, food and beverage, gyms. It's incredible, and the vibe down there is very different. It's very surf, very relaxed.
A little bit more laid back. I think people wake up a little bit later down there.
A little bit later,
Not as easy to get coffee at 6 a.m. and that. Exactly. But definitely different. I think I always classify Canggu as the city. It's kind of the business district. People are up very early. There's things happening very early in the morning. I think it's a little bit more holiday vacation mode in Uluwatu.
I saw, actually, I don't know if you know that, but I saw B-Work was opening now.
I saw that up on the main road.
On the main road, going before the hill, going down to Bingin. And I mean, there's not a lot of co-work spaces down there, but there will be eventually.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, cool. Actually, I wanted to touch a very sensitive topic called tourist tax.
Yes.
The $15, 150,000 rupiah.
Yeah.
How much did Bali actually collect?
Millions. Millions and millions.
How much?
What was the total number?
They claim they collected $22 million.
Nice.
Right? Nice.
Buy a nice villa for that.
They only claimed around 1/5 of what they should, according to the visited numbers, right?
Yes.
So something is definitely wrong. And I'm still You know, when we came to Singapore, from Singapore together also for the weekend trip, no one was actually saying, hey guys, you need to pay $15.
No, and I think they're integrating the systems at the moment, because I remember about 6 to 8 months ago when you would arrive, there were multiple different systems that you needed to fill out. You needed to fill out a health declaration and a customs declaration and immigration, and then this tourist tax was something completely different. And I think what they're doing now is consolidating everything together so that you have to do it. But I agree, I don't think they've collected anywhere near as much as possible. Everyone
coming to Bali should pay the tourist tax. It's only, it's $15, right?
150,000?
$10?
$10.
Okay. It's nothing. Pay it. When you get to the airport, please pay it, because it's used to create fantastic infrastructure, clean up the island.
Yeah.
What do you think the money should be used for?
Purely for the island. Purely for the island infrastructure. We saw a boom of people coming here after COVID, probably a little bit more than the island could handle at that time. I think things have got much better. And for people that have been here a long time, you will actually understand that things have got better here. It used to take 2 hours to get through immigration when you arrived, an hour for your suitcase to arrive. Customs would take very long. Even that process has been shortened down to 20 minutes when you arrive, with the e-gates and things like that. You have sidewalks all around Canggu, Pererenan, Brawa, everywhere has sidewalks, new roads. So I actually think a lot has got better here, and if people have been here a long time, they will understand that. But it needs to be a continuation.
For sure.
They need to keep spending the money on the sidewalks, the roads, the garbage, making sure that the infrastructure is nice, making sure that it's a nice place for people to drive through when they get here.
For me, it's the garbage. First of all, infrastructure, of course, but the garbage. It's an island. We have a unique opportunity to clean up this island.
For sure.
It's so important that when 80% of the business in Bali is tourism, they want to come to a clean island. But I also saw a video yesterday on Instagram, and there was a guy saying everyone is complaining from the Western world about how dirty Bali is, but they forget, you know, whether you're from Paris or London.
They should go to London. It's also pretty dirty.
Exactly. So there's more good things than bad things, but yeah, definitely. And if you have a villa and you're renting it out, remember to pay your taxes. It's very important, because that is what supports the island. Okay, Bingin Beach. Wow, what a mess.
Yeah.
It went viral globally.
Yeah.
What happened?
They started and stopped, and hopefully they will continue again. I think it's long-term wise, I think it's a very good thing.
It's going to be a good
plan
thing
to do. I think they will make, again, it's infrastructure. They will make the paths better. They will make, I remember walking down, and as charming as it was before, you had power cables by your head and slippery steps and bumpy paths and things like that. Longevity wise, I think it's a much better idea to completely fix it up, make it more accessible, and it would actually be a more beautiful place in the end. Unfortunately, what they've done right now is start the demolition of everything, and then kind of stop once they've demolished everything. So you have someone
They claim they ran out of money.
I'm not sure how that's possible, but,
but anyway.
Hopefully there are big plans for it to become a very nice place.
Yeah,
but
it will be.
What needed to happen was probably necessary, particularly for the illegal businesses that were on that cliffside. And hopefully over a long period of time, it will actually be much better. But right now there's a short-term problem in the fact that it doesn't look super nice.
I mean, it's we have to be very careful. We are not walking into this political what do you call it, hot cake?
Hotbed.
Because we don't want to do that, because definitely we have our opinions about, but there was so much illegal business being built by expats. These beach warungs should only be allowed to be built for local people.
Yeah, and I think they were very charming and part of the appeal of Bingin, and I would always love those opportunities for the locals to make money in places like that, but there unfortunately were a lot of expats that were capitalizing on the success of the beach. It was very black and white. The area was not zoned correctly for you to do that. People didn't have legitimate leases and things, so not my place to say, but I think it's a good thing.
It's okay to have your own opinion.
Absolutely.
Good. The government is enforcing, you just said, the law a lot more strict now.
Yeah.
What's going on in Bali? Because first we heard about the Airbnb ban.
Yep.
Then we heard about the paddle courts that were in green zones. Then we heard about Bingin Beach. What's going on in general?
I think the first part of it is that the government is just enforcing regulations that were already in place. And there was a statement that got misinterpreted about Airbnb being banned, which was never the case. It was simply the fact that there are a lot of illegal villas on Airbnb that don't have the right permits or perhaps are not in the right zoning. They have a very clear structure here for what you can and can't do in terms of renting out villas and where your villas should be and so on. And people have abused perhaps the flexibility that there is here in Indonesia, and therefore there are a lot of illegal properties on Airbnb. So the statement was purely that those ones needed to be cracked down on, not that Airbnb was going to be banned. I think on top of that, there's a lot, not just villas, but a lot of commercial projects that have been built in the wrong zoning, in green zones, without the right permits, and again, probably trying to bend the rules here in Indonesia, and they've been cracked down on. And so it's nothing more than the government starting to enforce regulations that were already in place.
Normalizing the situation, right?
Absolutely. And again, it's a good thing. Overall, in a long-term aspect, it will be much more controlled. It will protect the zones that should be protected. It will enforce that people need to have the right permits in place, and it's a good thing, but there's going to be some tidying up to do first for that.
I see a lot of videos basically about illegal buildings, Bingin Beach, how people are behaving. There's so much negativity about Bali right now. And I think it's a shame, because when we're living here, we don't see it that way, right?
No.
It's a fraction of what's going on in Bali that is just put out there on social media, and then it blows up. It's absolutely insane. I saw Ryan Costa who's the governor of Bali. He said, we need to be more selective with our tourism. And I think that would be amazing. It's not because we want rich people to go into Bali, but it's because we need to be more selective, because it has been a little bit like the Wild Wild West. There's a lot of people driving around on crazy bikes with no helmets, trying to create their own little world, living in a bubble in Bali. And I think it's good that the government is cracking down on everything now.
I think Bali has one of the strongest brands as an island in the world, and one thing they don't want is people to be disappointed when they come here. And so I think that's all that the government, or at least the Balinese government, is looking to do right now, is tidy the place up a little bit, make sure that there's regulations that are enforced, and hopefully bring, again, it's not a high class of tourists, it's just a tourist that respects the rules. Okay, for PROPERTIA, our expectations for 2026 and the year ahead, is it going to be as crazy as 2025? Yes and no. I think the market is stabilizing at the moment. I think the market is still extremely strong, probably better than a lot of other markets in the world. I think there's still an abundance of opportunities in the daily rental market, particularly in areas like Uluwatu. But what we will see is that there's perhaps a few less options available because the land has become quite expensive. Regulations need to be followed, which means that might push people away, which is a good thing. And I think people will still be interested in finished villas. There's more finished villas coming to the market now because there's been a lot off plan over the last 2 or 3 years. So the market is still going to be very strong. Probably a few less opportunities in one area and a few more opportunities in another area. But we still have this big shortfall of daily rental options down in what will be the busiest area, which is Uluwatu. So my expectation for 2026 is that Uluwatu will continue to grow. More and more investors will seek out those opportunities.
Do you believe other areas will grow as fast as Uluwatu?
Not as fast. I believe other areas will grow in different ways, and I think there are some areas that have been very popular for the last 30 or 40 years in Bali that are being a bit regenerated, right? Ubud, Sanur, those areas that are classic places that people have always gone to, have needed a bit of a revamp for a while. And I think Ubud, again, also has had all their sidewalks put in and the roads cleaned up, and it's become an easier place to go around. Sanur, the same thing. So I think these areas, they won't grow as fast, but at least they will be a bit more regenerated.
It's also a different audience, right?
Very different.
Sanur, which I love also, and you're a huge fan, is more residential.
Yes.
I think building 1 and 2 bedroom in Sanur, that would
more hotels, more big resorts down in Sanur. It's a beautiful place, but far less villas and probably less daily rental options in the villa market. Ubud, very different clients, and also an enormous place, right? So I think it's a very different market up there. Uluwatu will still be the tourist hub, I think, but we will just see Uluwatu spread out a little bit more than just Bingin, I think.
I think more than ever, Uluwatu is going to be one of the preferred areas for the tourists.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Canggu, for me, feels a little bit like the city vibe.
Yeah.
And Uluwatu right now is the surf, like Canggu also used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, still really nice to live in Canggu, but it is a little bit more hectic. It's if you spend 2 weeks, you should go 1 week in Canggu, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Actually, 1 week in Ubud, 1 week in Canggu, 1 week in Uluwatu.
I think a lot of people use Ubud as day trips now, right? And that actually used to happen with Uluwatu, where people would come to Canggu for their holiday or Seminyak for their holiday. Yeah. Ubud would just be a 1-day trip. Yeah. Uluwatu would be a 1-day trip. Now it seems like all of my clients, they do half-half, or even some of them more in Uluwatu. Yeah. So.
And what should investors invest in for 2026? Because I feel really now more than ever, it's important that you think about location, design, price, who you buy from. Yeah. Wow. I mean,
definitely.
We have seen some really huge disasters lately about, we are becoming more selective with our developers, right?
Very much so. And so I think the number one thing to look out for is legitimate developers, people who know what they're doing. We're very selective, and we've narrowed it down to a select few that we actually really love to work with because they're professional. I think location will become extremely important because there are clients that want to be very close to particular things. There are calling cards down in Bingin and Thomas Beach where people want to be right next to it. And then for me, it's design, but also number of units. When we look at these developments, we're very selective as to how many units they will build because we don't want 20 villas that look the same. And so when you're buying into a development, you should look at, okay, how many units are the same in it and how many units are total, what's around me, so that you know who your competition is.
Good. So if you were a buyer, what will you be looking for right now? How many villas should there be in a community?
I think the perfect number is probably around 6 to 8 overall. But what you're looking for ultimately is probably no more than 4 or 5 that are the same.
The same.
Right? Exactly. So if the development has 11, 12, 13, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. No. As long as you only have 4 or 5 that are one model, 4 or 5 that are another model, and you have diversity in it.
And price? Because I think the prices have gone up a little bit now because the land has become more expensive for the developers.
Very expensive, yeah.
Because the ROI calculation, which we will of course also make for you later in another video, what should they be looking at? 1 and 2 bedroom and 3 bedroom, what price?
So I think 1 bedroom, give or take $200,000 is a good number based on what you can make back on it if you're in the right area. 2 bedrooms, I think you're probably looking somewhere between 250 to 270 now. My opinion on the 2 bedrooms is it's worth paying more if you can get the best product. And I say that because we've seen some 2 bedrooms in the market that have gone up to 289, 299. But they've been very unique in terms of their location, perhaps their land size, and also style.
Building quality.
Yeah, and then I think 3 bedrooms will become more prominent in the market, and that's just because there's less options available. There's a lot of diversity and flexibility with a 3 bedroom where families can stay in it, people book it much more in advance, and you can charge very high nightly rates.
And you said how many 3 bedroom was there in Bingin right now?
I heard there's somewhere around 35. Total. We're talking Uluwatu, not even just Bingin. Crazy. So it's a very small number. And I think the 3 bedrooms people book much more in advance.
Yeah, they do.
1 and 2 bedrooms, you get a lot of last minute bookings, but 3 bedrooms people plan ahead. And I think you'll see very good 3 bedrooms enter the market now for 360, 370 US in good locations, good design.
And for the lease agreements, what should you be looking out for when you're buying?
I'd at least 25.
25.
25 is
when it's off plan, right?
When it's off plan.
Yeah.
You will find most of them are going to be between 25 and 30
anyway,
but you definitely want to be the right side of that 25, I think.
Why is that? Why are we looking at that kind of length?
For me, a lot of our clients look at these investments not so much on the capital gain, because there's not going to be a capital gain involved, but perhaps the returns on a yearly basis on a 4 to 5 year period. And a lot of our clients want to make their money back in probably a 5 to 6 year period on the very aggressive ones. So with a 25, 26 year lease, you can get to the end of that 5 or 6 year period and still have more than 20 on the lease.
Exactly.
If you start with lesser than that, then perhaps you only have 17, 18 years. And I think it then perhaps will become a little bit more challenging to sell.
We're also getting a lot of villas for sale now that is only a few years old.
Yeah.
And people expected a capital gain, which is absolutely insane, because we explain all our customers, this is purely about rental.
Yeah.
You cannot buy a villa and then expect it to go up 20, 30%.
I think it's a bit of a seesaw as well. As your lease drops down, your land value perhaps goes up, but in the end it's going to
break even if
break
you're lucky.
Even. And because the tax here is paid on the overall sales price, not your profit, that means that actually selling within the first probably 3 years is not going to make sense for our clients.
So if you're buying a villa, it's purely for rental reasons. Do not buy a villa if you expect it to grow in value. It's not how it works in Bali. Okay, rounding up, expectations for 2026. Anything else you want to add?
I think it's going to be an amazing year. We will see the areas that have grown a lot over the last couple of years continue to grow. We will see them expand a little bit more. Like I said, Uluwatu, I think, will grow into more than just Bingin. You will see a lot of growth in Thomas Beach, Padang Padang, Sulaban, Yang Yang, probably Puchatu as well. So I think it's going to be an amazing year in that area. I think you'll see Canggu settle a little bit. Now it's less off plan in Canggu, but a lot more finished villas. So clients looking for the finished villas in the market will probably look more at Canggu. But overall, 2026 year is going to be an amazing year in Bali, because I think they will do a lot of the cleaning up that we've talked about. I 100%
agree. If you haven't visited Bali yet, you should come. You should come and say hello to PROPERTIA. We are in Canggu, we are in Uluwatu, we are in Pererenan. Doesn't matter, but investing in a Bali villa is definitely one of the best investments you can do globally. Trust me. Thank you, Joe, for joining, and I'll see you in the next quarter.
Cool. Quarter 1 review 2026.
See you there.